From painted mountains that seem digitally rendered, to deserts shaped like hallucinations and glowing white terraces that feel like they belong in a dream. These places don't play by Earth's usual rules. These are bizarre places that just must be from a parallel universe. Well, this place looks absolutely nuts. It's like a landscape Dr. Seuss would draw. What you're looking at is the Zhangye Danxia landform, and yes, these striped hills are entirely natural, formed over 24 million years as layers of sandstone and minerals were pressed together, then pushed upward by tectonic movement. Wind and rain sculpted the sharp ridges and valleys, but the colors, the reds, oranges, yellows, and blues, all arranged in these beautiful stripes, it's amazing. At sunrise and sunset, the entire landscape seems to glow, just exaggerating the already surreal look. There's no blending or soft transitions here. It's all these bold layers of color. The shapes and shades register as familiar, yet completely wrong for a mountain range. It almost just looks too deliberate to be random. Also, I don't know about you, but it kind of looks tasty. I don't know, looks like an ice cream flavor or something. The Salvador Dalí desert doesn't look like it belongs to Earth. Looks like it belongs in a dream. Found in southwestern Bolivia, this barren stretch sits at high altitude, scattered with wind-sculpted rocks that look unlike anything else on the planet. Salvador Dalí never actually saw this place, but the comparison makes sense. The formations really do look like the distorted shapes from his paintings. A tree made of stone boulders that lean in impossible balances. The most well-known is the stone tree, a narrow trunk supported by a wide crown, like it was carved to be some sort of modern art piece, only of course it wasn't. The desert is silent, dry, mostly lifeless. There are no animals, no buildings, no sounds except the wind, and that just adds to the surreal atmosphere. This place looks unreal. It's called Pamukkale. It looks like it's covered in snow, but it's not. What you're looking at is actually solid white stone. See, over thousands of years, hot springs rich in calcium have flowed down the hillside, leaving behind thick mineral deposits that formed into these terraces. The result is a kind of frozen waterfall with bright white steps in these small pools of pale blue water. It looks cold, but it's actually warm to the touch. That contrast is what makes it so strange to walk through. You're standing in what looks like an icy landscape, but there's no ice, and everything is shaped so neatly it almost feels like it must have been created intentionally. The pools are perfectly spaced, the steps look almost evenly cut, but it's all just water and time. It's no surprise that people have been coming here for thousands of years. The ancient city of Hierapolis was built right next to it, and people believed the waters had healing powers. And I can't blame them. Even with crowds around, the layout makes it feel calm and kind of untouched. It doesn't look like any other landscape in the region, or really on the entire planet. Just off the coast of Zakynthos, Greece, there's something strange sitting on the sea floor. It looks like the remains of a sunken city. There are stone pavements, round columns, big flat slabs arranged in what look like neat rows. Divers first thought they discovered some forgotten ancient port or town, but it turns out it's not actually the case. These shapes were formed by natural gas seeps in the ocean floor. Over time, the minerals hardened into these perfectly round and flat structures that just happened to look like parts of a building. Even with that explanation though, it's hard not to question what you're seeing. The geometry feels too deliberate. The slabs connect at right angles. Some of the circular shapes look exactly like carved bases for columns. There are no walls or statues or tools, but your brain still wants it to be ruins. The water here is so clear and shallow too that you can see the whole formation from up above, which only adds to the effect. Salar de Uyuni is the largest salt flat in the world. People say when you're standing in the middle of it, it barely feels real. It looks to me like one of those Windows desktop backgrounds you'd have in the mid-2000s, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Just this place just looks breathtaking. Like I just hear ambient Brian Eno music when I look at images here. For most of the year, it's this massive stretch of solid, dry salt, totally flat, pure white, almost nothing breaking up the horizon. It looks like the surface of another planet. But when it rains, the whole thing changes. You get this thin layer of water that settles on top, turning the salt flat into this near perfect mirror. Suddenly the sky is reflected on the ground and there's no clear line between up and down. You can walk across it and see your own reflection moving below you. Along with the clouds, sun, and whatever else is overhead, it honestly looks like heaven on earth. And that mirror effect is so precise that satellite agencies sometimes use it to calibrate their instruments. But for anyone visiting with no visible landmarks, it's hard to judge distance. Some will say it almost feels like you're floating between two skies. And the flatness makes it almost impossible to tell how far you've walked. There's nothing quite like this place. Socotra is one of the strangest places on Earth. Not because of any one thing, it's because almost everything about this place feels off. If you ever wanted to visit Pandora from Avatar, this is probably as close as you're gonna get, on Earth at least. The island is part of Yemen, but it broke off from mainland Africa millions of years ago. And in that time, it's developed a completely unique ecosystem. People say unique a lot to describe things. That really does fit here. About a third of the plant life can't be found anywhere else on the planet. The most famous example is the dragon's tree, which looks like a giant umbrella and bleeds red sap when it's cut. Now that's just the start. There are bottle-shaped trees, bizarre shrubs, weird-looking reptiles and birds that evolved in total isolation. Even the coastline looks kind of strange, with pale beaches leading into rocky cliffs and caves carved into limestone. You walk around and get the sense that someone shuffled together a desert, a jungle, and like a sci-fi set. At least that's how it's described, and that's what I can see looking at it. I've never been. I would absolutely love to go, though. Feels like it belongs to a different version of Earth entirely. And local legends talk about how ancient sailors would arrive here and then think they'd found the edge of the known world, and it's easy to see why. Lake Hillier is bright pink. It's not kind of pink. The place is unapologetically Barbie pink. It sits on an island off the coast of Western Australia, surrounded by dark green forest and blue ocean on the other side, and the contrast is just ridiculous. There's no slow transition here. It's just this sharp line between pink and then you got everything else. And the water stays pink even when you scoop it into a bottle. Scientists think that it's caused by a microbe that releases a pigment under certain conditions, but no one's completely figured this out. The lake's only about 600 meters across, no rivers feeding into it, and nothing around it that looks even remotely similar. It's completely harmless too, you can swim in it. You can't swim in this next place though. The Danakil Depression in Ethiopia is one of the most extreme environments on Earth. It's brutally hot, with temperatures regularly hitting over 120 degrees Fahrenheit, or roughly 50 degrees Celsius. The landscape here looks almost like a planet that's still forming. You'll see sulfur springs that glow this neon yellow and green. Bubbling and steaming acidic pools are everywhere, and salt flats are cracked into these sharp, jagged patterns. As you can probably imagine, the air smells like sulfur and salt, and there's almost no plant or animal life except for tiny organisms. Some scientists actually come here to study how early Earth might have looked. Others use it as a stand-in for what alien life might deal with, on other planets. Because nothing about this place looks stable. The ground is always hissing and smoking, and it feels like it could change shape overnight. I kind of imagine it smells like farts, but I don't know. You'd have to tell me if you've ever been. Flag Geyser in Nevada wasn't supposed to exist. In the 1960s, a geothermal company drilled into the ground looking for energy, and then they accidentally tapped into a pressurized spring. They capped it, but the seal didn't hold. Hot, mineral-rich water started pouring out, and it just never stopped. Over time, those minerals built up into this mound, and algae took over, turning the geyser into this multicolored thing that you're looking at now. Multiple sprouts constantly spraying out hot water. I mean, this thing is indescribable. First of all, look at the colors, the reds, greens, and yellows. It's shaped like something you'd see in a coral reef. It's not huge, maybe about 12 feet tall, but it sticks out like crazy in the middle of this dry, flat desert. Looks like it was grown in a lab. And something went wrong. Unfortunately, it's on private land, and it's not generally open to the public, so most people only see it in photos, but it's very real, and it's still changing. So if hippie tie-dye somehow became a place, it would have to be the Grand Prismatic Spring in Yellowstone. This is the largest hot spring in the United States, and easily one of the most colorful. From above, it looks like this giant, trippy eye, deep blue in the center, then rings of green, yellow, orange, and red moving outward. Each band is filled with different types of microbes, each one thriving in a specific temperature. The center is near boiling, crystal clear, but as the water cools near the edges, different microbes take over and change the color. The air is full of steam here, and that constant haze makes the whole thing almost look like it's glowing or breathing. You can't get too close, there's a boardwalk that keeps you at a safe distance, but even from there, it just doesn't look like it should be real. You're staring at a pool that's basically a living chemical reaction, all laid out in these perfect rings. Looks pretty incredible. And with all that said, I've been your host James. I'll catch you, yes you specifically, in the next video.